Alright, here we have another Xbox controller, Xbox One. This stick is in fairly good condition. There's no bridges, no nothing. I mean, this stick is working properly, but the problem is this one right here. I was gonna replace the sensor, the potentiometers, but there's a problem here. Let me zoom in. There's a bit of foul play with this stick. You can hear, I can feel there's play. Like there's play everywhere. And when I touched it like that and played with it, it was showing off in the controller tester. It was moving. It was giving awkward movements. This one went up on its own. Why? Same reason. You see all this chewed up right here? Down to the copper? I was not reading properly. And I gotta tinker with one of these, see how I can get in there and expose all of the copper and place it back in a test controller and see how that works without that black crap in there. I don't know if that has to do with it. I'm gonna try that out. I'm just gonna like expose all the copper and put a new. So the reason that I got chewed up, the fork that I always mention, I just screwed this up right here. Yeah, I just screwed this up right here. I mean, doesn't matter. It's gonna be replaced anyway, but the forks broke off. There's no lump on the forks, so the forks broke off, and that caused this to get chewed up. I know it's going up on its own. That's a no-no. No. Bad potentiometer. Let me see if I can, I have a few spares in here. But, let's see here. This one is a white one. Every time I find these good, like there was no saving it because, I mean, it got, like you can see this one, it got the lumps in it. Right here. There's little lumps in there. Right there. That fork is all the way broke out. So, detecting that problem, the other problem was the stick itself, the joystick itself. So I'm gonna replace the whole thing with a spare one I have right here. This one is not playing at all. It's gotta be. It eventually does it, but it's teeny tiny wiggle. This is wiggling too much. This is wiggling too much. So I'm gonna change this part completely. I'll unsolder all of this. You gotta be careful with that right there, because that's your I keep forgetting these controllers. I mean, I'm always used to saying R2, L2, LT. That's your LT button right there. This thing right here, that's your LT. You gotta be careful with that. If you screw that up, your trigger's not gonna work, because this works with a magnet that's on the right here. It works with a magnet. When it touches down, maybe it closes it's kind of, I think this kind of works sort of like a relay, but yeah, that, just be careful with this. And we're done. The best approach I took for this part, I already changed the stick. There's no play now. It's minuscule, but it does, like, how to explain it, like it's not as bad as the other one was. And the best approach I took for that was I had to break it in parts and desolder it in parts. Why? Because we have the sensor I told you about right here. You don't want to screw that up. And there's a small cap right here, C37. You don't want to screw that as well. So if you start heating this out, you might have it bottom down like this, and then the problem is going to be that we have more capacitors, filters, and relays, and resistors. You have this right here, this might fall off. There's 2 more resistors up in there, capacitors, I mean. Alright, so the best approach was right here. I snapped this out from right here, and I snapped out every corner. Boom, boom, boom. And then I took these legs off. Then I took the other 2 legs off. This comes from underneath because it's clamped with the whole thing. Right here, see? It's clamped right underneath there. So that comes on its own. That comes out on its own. So we cleaned everything up. We double checked on the potentiometers. They were good. As you can see, I verified them all. I had to switch 3. This is the only good one. And check this out. Look how the color they were turning. That looks like it's burnt. Maybe low batteries or something. Now this one's the one that broke the legs off. Right, here we go. No, that's not it. He's right here. Look at that blackness, man. That's not supposed to be like that. That looks like it's burnt or something. This one as well. That's supposed to be like copper. Shiny copper, not black like that. But I took care of that all. I'm gonna put this back together, and I'm gonna test it out in the controller software checking thing. Alright, here we are in the gamepad tester. Alright, so thing is, let me lower this a little bit. I think there's a small margin of error on the left joystick to the right. Maybe it's nothing, or I'm gonna have to take it apart again and check if the joystick is seated on the board as it should. I made sure I held it in place, but the controller in one point slipped on me, and I don't know. So when I checked it out, it was well seated on the board, so maybe it's nothing. The joystick doesn't show like this. If it's showing like that, you're having stick drift, or it'll start to like spaz out on its own like that, and that thing is dead on. Just a slight margin of error. The right stick, that's dead on, but the left stick, that is close to, I think as soon as it hits a 1, 3.3, maybe 0.2. Kind of like jumps. I can't get it. Yeah, it kind of jumps, but it goes back to white and it's not spazzing out. So maybe it's nothing, maybe it's a small margin of error. I'll test it out in a game and see how it goes. If not, I'm gonna have to take it apart and check if the joystick is well seated on the board. Alright, so here we are testing the controller. It's connected wirelessly. I gave it a good clean with the scuff. Replace the pads, joystick, the thumbsticks right there. Everything is working fine. Everything seems to be working fine. Now the problem was this stick right here. So just a little bit to the, doesn't really make a difference in games. It goes to a dead center. There's a slight error deviation. There's no stick drift whatsoever. No stick drift whatsoever. So let's go ahead and check out on here. Gamepad tester. There we are. I was having an issue where this button right here, it was staying stuck. It was staying stuck like that. That's the, let's call it the R3. It's a slight deviation onto the right, but it's going back to center. I don't think it's much of a problem as long as you don't see this stick like grayish. It goes like a slight gray like that. If you don't see that, controller's gonna work fine. As long as you don't see it slightly gray, there's no problem whatsoever. As long as it goes back to white, you're good. It doesn't matter. The response is okay. All buttons are working perfectly. So there we have it. Let me just turn on the light here. Gave it a good scuff and cleaned it out. It's connecting through Bluetooth, it's connecting to the wire. I also had to replace the USB micro because that was bad. Like if you want to play through the controller, or sometimes when you moved or something while playing, it disconnected because the USB micro was damaged. I also changed that. It turned out alright. So fair. It's not good for fair use. I'll give it a good test. Play a whole day on it. Make sure everything is working. There you have it.